Hello, everybody. So in this video, we will see how inflation can affect you in your life, how can affect your lifestyle. So let's start with this. So inflation and real interest rate. So many of us are dealing with bank loans and you have to pay your loans over a number of years. So how inflation will affect the interest rate which you are paying on these loans. So let's start with this. So let's start with this formula. So So in this formula, it says real interest rate equals nominal interest rate minus inflation rate. So what I mean by nominal interest rate, this is whatever the interest rate you take in loan. So let's say you have student loans or auto loans. Let's say you pay 2% or 2.5%, 5%, whatever. So whatever the interest you get from the bank, so this is what we call nominal interest rate. But whenever we have inflation, so this inflation has to be taken into consideration. So for example, so if the nominal interest rate equals 2% and the inflation rate equals 1%, so the real interest rate equals 1%. But here, this is from the bank's perspective. You have to be careful about this. So this equation is from the lender perspective. So this means from my perspective as a bank. So if I'm lending customers at 2%, while the inflation equals 1%, so I'm getting only 1%. So 2 minus 1 is 1%. So again, I'm repeating, this is from the lender perspective, from a bank perspective. So let's have an example to explain this formula. So let's see question number 5. Suppose that the nominal rate of inflation equals 4%. Inflation premium, which is inflation, so inflation equals 2%. What will be the real interest rate? I think this is easy. Just plug in the numbers. So nominal is 4%. Inflation is 2%. So 4 minus 2, and this will give you the answer. So the real interest rate equals 2%. Next question, which is now assume that the real interest rate is 1% and the nominal is 6%. Here in this question, I'm asking about the inflation. So let's see this formula again. Okay, but let's rearrange this formula. So we can arrange it by this way. So here I'm asking about the inflation. So if we bring the inflation to the left-hand side, so inflation equals what? So equals nominal interest minus, and let's bring the real interest rate to the right-hand side. So minus real interest rate. So this formula can be written by this way. So if this is the case, so now let's see what do we have here in the question. So the real interest rate is 1%. So this is 1%. And the nominal is 6%. So 6%. So 6 minus 1. So the inflation, this means inflation equals 5%. Okay. Let's see another application or another way where inflation can affect your life. Inflation can affect your income. Inflation can affect whatever salary or the wage you are getting from your job. Let's see how inflation can affect your income. So let's start with this formula. So percentage change in real income, or we can say that real income. So your real income equals your nominal income minus inflation. So again, let's say this. So let's say you are working in a company and your manager told you, hey, you are doing good job. You will get compensated. So you will get increase in your salary by 10%. So this is what I mean by percentage change in nominal income. But at the same time, you are getting 10% increase in your salary. But at the same time, let's say you go to the gas station, the price is increased by 2%. The gas price increased by 2%. You go to Walmart or Target, the price of grocery increased by 2%. And this is what we mean by inflation. So if your nominal income increased by 2%, while at the same time the inflation increased by 2%, so you are not getting 10% increase. You are getting your net change or not your net increase in your salary is only 8%. So this is another way where inflation can affect your income. So let's see an example. To see what do you mean by this. Okay, so in this question, if your nominal income rose by 5.3%, and the price level, whenever I say price level, I mean inflation. So be careful about this. So price level and inflation are the same. So, and the price level rose by 3.8%. By what percentage was your real income? So just plug in the numbers. So nominal income, this is 5.3%. Inflation is 3.8%. So 5.3 minus 3.8. So you will get 1.5%. So your real income will increase only by 1.5%. Another question. So if your nominal income increased by 2.8%, this is the nominal income. Your real income increased by 1.1%. Okay, so this is 1.1%, and this is 2.8%. You can simply solve for inflation. So inflation will be 2.8% minus 1.1. So inflation will be 1.7%. Okay, so let's see another question. Okay, so I like this question because actually it summarizes everything I said in this video. So let's see, what do I mean? So in this question, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that CPI, the Consumer Price Index, was equal to 115.9 in 2009. While 1 year earlier, which is 2008, it was 2010.2. So this is the CPI 2008. This is the CPI in 2009. Okay. So the question number one: what was the annual inflation? I explained how do we measure inflation in a previous video. So inflation is the percentage of a change in CPI, right? So if this is the case, so inflation is CPI in 2009 minus CPI 2008 divided by CPI 2008. Okay, so this is what you have here. So 215.9, this is CPI 2009. 210.2, this is CPI 2008 divided by CPI 2008 multiplied by 100. So this is your inflation. So the inflation equals 2.7%. Okay, now the rule of 70. So the question is question number B asks, how long will it take for the price level to double? So here's the inflation. How many years is gonna take to double the inflation? So we apply the rule of 70 as a reminder. So rule of 70 says what? Divide 70 by the inflation, which we got it from question number A. So 70 by 2.7, you will get 25.9. So the inflation will double after 25 years. Okay, next question. Now suppose that Janice's nominal income rose by 4%. So this is the nominal income from December 08 to December 09, while Jeff's increased by only 2%. Okay, so Janice nominal income increased by 4%. Jeff nominal income increased by 2%. By what percentage did each of the real income change? Okay, so again, so real income equal nominal income minus inflation. So for Janice, the nominal income is 4%. What about the inflation? We already got inflation from question number A, which is 2.7, so minus 2.7%. This is what you have here. For Jeff, so the nominal was 2%, and here it's 2%, and the inflation equals 2.7%, so the real income will be negative 1.3%. Okay. Let's see the last question here we have. So if the CPI increased from 110 to 112 and your salary is 3,000, so what will it be after CPI increase? So let's find the inflation first. So the inflation will be CPI at time t, right? which is 112, minus CPI at time t minus 1, which is 110. So 110 divided by CPI at time t minus 1, which is 110, multiplied by 100. Okay, so let's do this. So basically you're dividing 2 by 110. So the inflation is 1.81%. Okay, so now the question is, what will, so this is your salary, so asking about your real income. So actually real income will decline by this number, which means let's take 100% minus 1.81%. Let's do this. So 100 minus 1.81 equals 98.19. So your real income will be 30,000 times 98.19%. So your income will be 29,457, which is close to the first one. And actually, you don't even to solve because you don't need to do all of these calculations, because from the choices you have, all the choices here like B and C and D are more than 30,000. But with the presence of inflation, definitely your real income will be less than your nominal income. Okay, so I want to make something clear. Here. So whenever there is inflation, your real income will be greater than your nominal income. But with deflation, I explained deflation before. So deflation means the prices are declining. So your real income will be less than your nominal income. Why? Because deflation means the inflation will be is a negative number. So if it's negative number, so here the formula. So if the negative is, so we have negative, so this means this will be positive. Let me repeat this one more time. So whenever there's inflation, so real will be less than nominal income. But whenever we have deflation, deflation means inflation rate is negative. So negative, this will turn to be positive. So real income will be greater than your nominal income. Okay. Now, what is the relation between inflation and business cycles? So when I explained in the previous video the business cycle. So business cycle, I said we have recessions and we have expansion. So when during the times of recessions, so recessions tend to reduce inflation. Why? Why this is the case? So usually, so whenever there's a recession in the market, inflation will tend to be less. Why? Because whenever there's a recession, so many people lose their jobs. So this means you have less source of income. So this means you have less demand on the goods and services. So this means consequently this will lead that the prices of goods and services will go down. So the lower demand on the goods and services because of recession, so this will reduce the inflation. That's why here I'm saying recessions tend to reduce inflation. Okay, what about expansion, which is the opposite of recession? So during expansion, so demand for product is high relative to supply, and this resulting in price increases. Okay, unemployment and inflation. This is the last thing in this video. So unemployment and inflation, I said before that these are the two evils. So in any economy, so whenever there is unemployment and inflation, these are called twin problems. So when unemployment is high, inflation is low, and when inflation unemployment is low, so this is the expansion phase. Okay, and there's something called misery index. This is the sum of unemployment rate and inflation rate, and this is the link for the misery index. Okay, so misery index is the summation of the unemployment rate and the inflation rate. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.